Now, the Home Office is set to pay celebrities, well, influencers, thousands of pounds to post messages on TikTok discouraging migrants from crossing the channel.
Yes, influencers from countries that are deemed to account for a large amount of illegal migration could be offered up to £5,000 each.
Yeah, well, the move would fall within the rules after the government was banned from using the social media firm because of security concerns.
Well, joining us now is political commentator and former MEP Patrick O'Flynn, who thinks the government shouldn't pay TikTokers, and the director of Sanctuary Foundation, Dr. Chris Candia, who thinks that they should. So, Dr. Chris, let's start with you, shall we? And you think that this could actually work?
I actually do. I'm in Albania right now, which is one of the countries that's targeted for this TikTok campaign. Albania is a fantastic country. It's beautiful beaches, lovely mountains to go and climb. But Albania has seen development in some of its larger cities. The smaller ones have been left behind. And that's where lots of the young people that have been coming to the UK on these small boats have been lured by TikTok campaigns from the grey market, from people trying to get them into grow houses to sell cannabis. So it makes sense to me that the government would use every communication tool possible to dissuade young people from getting on those dangerous boats, risking their lives, and then being criminalised and exploited in the UK.
OK, Patrick, what's wrong with that?
Well, I think in respect of Albania, which is one of the countries being lined up, it's shutting the stable door after the horse has bolted. I think between 2021 and 2023, something like 1 in 11 of all Albanian men came across to England. And since then, the government's got a returns deal going. So you've seen the Albanian numbers plummet anyway. But the other countries mentioned, Vietnam, Iraq, Egypt, Turkey, out of memory, for this budget of getting on for £500,000 of taxpayers' money. I see it as a gimmick, and it's mainly displacement activity, because there were some figures out yesterday from the independent Oxford Migration Laboratory that showed out of about 100,000 people crossing the Channel, only about 1,300 have ever been sent back, and most of them are indeed Albanians. So the truth is, and I do agree that these people tap into social media, but the truth is, if you come across and manage to land via the Channel illegally, you will get to stay, almost certainly, as far as we can tell so far. You won't be removed. You'll be in a country with an extensive welfare state, and your life will have been better by cheating.
But forgive me, Patrick, that's the whole point of this, isn't it? You say shutting the stable door after the horse has bolted. This is a preventative issue. What they're trying to do. I
don't think it's effective, because the reality will get back via other people, including successful illegal migrants who've already made it. And I think this is designed partly as an antidote to that. But the reality is, if you arrive illegally, not now from Albania, where we do manage to return people, but from almost any other country where significant numbers are coming from, you will almost certainly get to stay. You will almost certainly have a hotel room, and then you will almost certainly have further accommodation arranged for you, until the government manages to start returning people or sending them to other countries in large numbers. The pull factor will be there, and this, I think, is a waste of taxpayers' money.
Dr. Krish?
I believe the UK has lots of capacity to welcome and support refugees. I run a refugee support charity, but particularly with countries like Albania, where young people have been targeted by social media influencers for the negative. Let's use every tool at our disposal to help these young people see the reality of what life in the UK would be like for them if they are entering the grey market, if they are entering into the drug industry or criminal exploitation. I always think prevention is better than cure. For me, this is far more useful use of money than things like the Rwanda scheme, which no one thinks is going to work, and it's going to cost astronomically much more money. So this seems to be a positive way that we could help people actually get an accurate picture of what life will be like in the UK if they do use these criminal gangs to cross the Channel.
Well, look, Chris, you've got to say no one thinks it's going to work isn't true. A lot of people think it will work. But nevertheless, there is a really valid point there, Patrick, isn't it? It's not going to stop the problem altogether, clearly. But if it is the government using every tool at their disposal, well, shouldn't they do that? Why not do that?
Well, I think it's a gimmick, and I think, there's a nettle to be grasped that lots of people say you can't grasp while we're still within the European Convention on Human Rights and its supervisory court in Strasbourg and other international agreements, right? That's the kernel of the issue, and I see this as a gimmick and a distraction that almost certainly is not going to work because the reality is people coming from very poor countries with other negative features about their life there, coming illegally to Britain, are getting better lives by cheating the system and are jumping the queue of, in terms of the people who apply to come legally, and just, paying some TikTok influencer to say, oh, don't believe it, it's not all good. There'll be 100 other people who've already made the trip successfully and are not being removed. So I see it as a really quite tawdry waste of taxpayers' money.
OK. Patrick, Krish, we've got to leave it there. Thank you very much indeed.